Hello, and today we're talking with Vicki Farnam, and she has a great book out and a story that I'm very excited to talk to her about today. And I've dubbed her the godmother of off-body carry. Vicki, how are you today?
I'm great. Thank you very much. And you?
I'm doing fantastic. So, Vicki, let's talk a little bit about your journey. I want you to introduce everyone to who you are and how you got to this point where you're kind of an expert, I'd say, on off-body carry.
Well, I've been in this business for a very, very long time, longer than some of you have probably been alive. I've been in this business well over 35 years with my husband, John Farnam. And many, many years ago, when I first married John, I was still working full time as a museum curator. And he came home from a trip and brought me this beautiful handbag, uh, which was set up as a concealed carry bag. And he presented it to me, and I used that, carried that very often. And that launched my career, I guess you would say, in carrying off body concealed because I couldn't wear a holster and a belt the way I had to dress. And so I used a handbag. At other times, I used a briefcase, and it all worked very well. Long time ago, and even then, no one wanted to advocate for carrying what they consider off body. And yet it was attached to me. It was on in a purse with a strap over my shoulder. So that's when I started.
Perfect. And fast forward to where we are today, we have the Flex Carry Solutions book, right, which you authored and co-authored with a bunch of your teammates, and it's
Yes.
a full authoritative full color book that I thought was wonderful. And you gave this to me at SHOT Show. I had a chance to read it. Do you want to talk just a little bit about this too?
Well, I've been teaching an instructor class on off-body carry, which I've renamed Flexi Carry,
Mm-hmm.
for about 6 years now. And my team who teaches with me kept encouraging me to write a book. Well, I've written two books before, and they are not the easiest thing to do. So it eventually occurred to me, though, it had to be in writing and it had to be in pictures so people could understand what this concept is all about. And so I gathered my team together, brought them all to Colorado, and we sat down around my dining room table and we pounded out this book. We all knew the topic, we all knew the chapters that we wanted to have in the book, how we wanted to express it to people, and how we wanted to demonstrate through the photographs how this can be done. A number of different styles of bags, from purses and handbags to backpacks and sling bags, all things that are used by people today. Hence the name FlexiCarry. That there are opportunities and advantages to this.
Right. And I have actually 10 questions for you. And that's what this interview is about. It's a 10-question interview. And I've already asked you a bunch of questions. So, how can that be the case? And spoiler alert, I've got two questions after the 10 questions. The
Uh-oh.
first, the first question, this is an easy one, right? So, let's talk about the concept off body carry. Why off body carry? And I know you answered some of that for you and your situation, but I know you've got a bunch of other examples too that you talk about in your book as well.
Off-body carry, where did that term even come from? Just because your concealed carry gun is not in a holster, on your belt, on your waistband, does not mean it can't be attached to you. There are other ways that straps can be attached to you, like around your waist, but not attached to your belt loops. Over your shoulder is another way of doing this with a long strap. And so off-body carry does not even describe what people are doing. And yet, everybody who wants to carry a gun for concealed carry purposes is not capable of using a belt and pants and belt loops and a holster. We have to have another solution.
Sure, and I think that's great, and it gives opportunity, and and that's one of the things that you talked about, like on the cover of the book, right? You're talking about the different scenarios, and who might need to carry in this manner. And that's all in the book. I urge people to go out there and get the book as well. I don't want to say there's a lot of negativity, but you and I have talked about this in the past. There is some negativity about the concept of off-body carry. Now, what is your answer to people that want to talk about, you should not carry that way, or people that are trying to seem like they're purists? What is your answer to those folks who are coming at you negatively?
Well, you can be as purist as you want to be, but a person has to meet their own needs and has to function in this world the way they are capable of functioning. And if you can't wear that waistband holster on a belt on your pants with your belt loops, then you have to find a solution that works for you. And the subtitle of the book is In Your Life for Your Life,
Right.
because what's going to work for you to have that tool that you might need to save your own life. The same answer is not going to be applicable to everyone.
And
We
that's
all have our
something
challenges.
Yeah, and that's something I really enjoyed about the material is it's open and it's designed for you to cater it to your needs. So it's not like this is the way, this is a way. We will show you some ways, and then you implement it into what works for you. And part of that is this next question, right? So let's just clear this up. Off-body carry is very simple, right? You just take your firearm and you throw it in a bag, and you're good to go, right? Is that
No,
how? No. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the strategy here.
no, there has to be some thought. Uh, you can decide on what style of bag you want to carry. And again, it can be that purse or a backpack. Let's give those two as examples. There must be within that purse or that backpack a dedicated pocket where only the gun is going to go. But that dedicated pocket also needs to have something like a Velcro backing to it so that you could attach a holster that has Velcro on it to the Velcro of the bag, and now it's supported. And once you have a holster that's supported by the wall of the bag, then you can put the gun in it, and the trigger guard of the gun is covered and secure. That way, you're not going to reach in there and inadvertently put your finger inside of the trigger guard. At the same time, the dedicated pocket allows you to have nothing else in that pocket other than the gun in its holster. The only exception might be a Velcroed in holder for an extra magazine. Anything else you want to have in that bag, pencils, mascara, car keys, OC spray, can go in another pocket so that it never comes close to the gun.
Perfect. And you and your instructors have been doing, like you said, you've been doing this for a while. You've been teaching this class for a while. You came into this because you were as the curator of the, working in the museum. So this off-body carry lifestyle suited your needs, and you made it carry work for you. But I guess like your impetus of this, like how did you guys come together and say, all right, we're going to create a team and we're going to teach this, and we're going to teach instructors how to teach this and train them to train other people? Because you don't just wake up and do that.
About 6 years ago, I was encouraged to create a curriculum to teach instructors. The original idea was instructors who work at gun stores and gun ranges to teach them how to use the products that were available.
Sure.
I was encouraged to do that, and I was reluctant, and yet at the same time, I realized I probably had more experience than anybody else doing this. So, and I'm an educator by choice and by education. So I decided, all right, I'll do this. And the some of the women who were in the very, very earliest courses have decided that that is a path that they want to follow seriously. And so they have become my team of instructors. And Gloria and Marty and a guy, Gary, they have and Wendy, they have followed me around and taught at those classes because they are dedicated to helping other people, men and women, find an answer for carrying.
And
So I'm
you've
very fortunate.
I think it's great. And you've gained, like you said, a lot of experience. And when you guys got together at your home and said, okay, we're going to turn this into a book, and you got together, was there anything in particular about the actual book writing and the photography portion here that you learned that was kind of shocked you in that process? Did you learn anything special there? I'm just curious because it's about the creative process, right?
Oh, well, gosh, I'm trying to think if I learned something new in that experience.
Sure.
It was reaffirmed to me in the experience of writing this book, the same things that I have experienced before, both as long ago as a museum curator and then as an author of two previous books. You have to be able to synthesize the information to the very bare bones and put it in written form for people to understand. And I say that because what we have put in the book is just a fragment of all the information that's available. And
Right.
you have to be able to sift through that to give the very core of the information to people, uh, so that they can learn without being bored, so that they can learn something that's useful to them, so that they can learn and share it with other people as well. And that takes a lot of work because you want to say 100 times more bits and pieces of information than you can fit in a book,
Yeah,
as
absolutely.
you well know.
I do. And that's my next question kind of rolls into this. This isn't a substitute for training. And I think you would agree with me on that assertion. No book is a substitute for training. It's a good primer, and it's a good way to get you up to speed and get you going and give you ideas. What would be your advice for folks that want to get that more hands-on training and learn more about off body carry that maybe they don't have access to, like they don't have access to you? Let's be honest, you can only be in one place at one time. So how would you direct people to go about learning more about this in a more hands-on way?
Well, after reading the book, that would be the first thing. But then we have a list of instructors
Mm-hmm.
on our webpage, flexicarry.com, where they can find an instructor who may be in their locality and contact that instructor so that they could get hands-on training. Uh, that is so very, very important. The book gives you a good outline, and if you have no other choice, the pictures help you follow step by step. Actually, having somebody to talk to and ask questions of, and to have critique you as you're learning this, is the best way. And so we are working very hard to get those instructors who have been through the instructor class connected with people who want to learn how to do this.
Sure.
But
And
the web page is the best way.
I was going to say, and all that stuff is online on the website, and we'll get to that when we wrap up. I want to give me all of your information on that. So now, what are some of I guess, the secret sauce that students will learn when they get with one of your instructors that you've trained? Because again, we've already decided, you can't just throw the firearm in a bag and call it good. And what are some of the other things that people could expect that they might encounter when they work with one of your instructors?
Well, they will find that some of the advantages of FlexiCarry are that you can have a bag of your choice on you all the time, no matter what you're doing. You can keep that bag on, and so it's readily available to you. It doesn't matter if, like the woman on the cover of the book, you're sitting in a wheelchair because that's the way you
Right,
get around.
right.
Or if it's snowing and it's cold, there your bag is situated on the outside of your coat, not on the inside. Um, you can be driving a car and you can have your seatbelt on and still have your flexi carry bag available to you. These are things that, yes, if your gun is in a holster on your belt, that is true also. But if it's 18 degrees out, like in the picture on the cover of the book, you have to go through 6 layers of clothes to get to that gun. Whereas if the gun's on the outside of your coat, it's readily available.
Hmm.
People don't stop and think about those advantages. If you're in a wheelchair, um, or you're incapacitated in some other way by a physical problem or a medical issue, you can have your concealed carry gun available to you simply because it's outside of your jacket, your concealment garment. It's still concealed, but it's readily available.
Right.
And
Uh,
and speed, one of the greatest criticisms is that it's so slow. I'm sorry, that's not the least bit true, especially when it's sitting right in your lap or right on your side.
and if you're training too, obviously you're going to increase your proficiency with that. So it might be
That's
slow if you just get started on this. You haven't done it before. So I think that's, one of those criticisms again. And you and I spoke about this, how some of the people are just ardently against it. And this is a very liberating thing. And I think it's perfect, not to make it sexist, but it's perfect for women who have maybe certain, clothing options that this just does not work for them in that certain business instances and other things. And men too. This isn't to say it's just a woman thing. But let's face the facts. The firearms industry has catered to men for millennia, and
yeah.
now here all of a sudden the women showed up and you can't just paint it pink and call it good, right?
Oh, the first year the pink started to show up at the SHOT Show was just appalling. Um, but women have been carrying in their handbag since guns were invented, since small personal protection guns were invented. They have carried in a handbag, as we mentioned in the book, because their clothing didn't come with pockets or
Mm-hmm.
belts.
Right.
Uh, and even men had to use just the waistband until belts and holsters came along. But be that here or there, again, you have to choose what's going to work for you. And why there is an attitude of one size should fit all, one technique should work for everyone. And if it doesn't work for you, well, too bad for you. That's a very, very poor approach
Right.
to looking for something that will benefit all of your students.
So now let's say I'm an instructor, or for all of the instructors out there, I am an instructor, but let's say all the instructors that are out there, what are you looking for in instructors as far as, minimum requirements that they want to come to you, say, hey, Vicki, we want you to train me, so I want to come to one of your classes. How do you vet them, and what are you looking for in instructor candidates?
They need to be a certified instructor either through the NRA or the USCCA. I will take either one of those instructor qualifications. Then they also need to be familiar with defensive shooting skills.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I learned this very early on. Some women came to class who uh, had a certificate of instruction, but they happened to live in areas of the country where they were not allowed to draw from a holster at a gun range because that's the state law or the local law or the gun range law. And wow, that made a difference. So I've had to institute that very strict regulation that you have to have just some defensive shooting skills. You have to know how to draw from a holster
Sure. Well, for all
and
intents and
reload.
purposes, here we are post 2022. And I think that that's relevant, that most of the countries should be on board with allowing people to carry now if you're permitted, but that's a whole nother ball of wax.
Right.
Uh, you know, okay. And then the other things that those instructors that are eligible, what are they to look to learn from you, I guess, as far as those techniques go?
Well, they're going to learn how to use each of the different styles of carry bag, off-body carry bag. And I will use that term because of its familiarity. So whether it's a purse or a sling bag that you wear crossbody, um, a backpack, various sizes and shapes and descriptions, tactical
Hmm.
bags. Many of the tactical companies make single strap sling
Hmm.
bags that
Sure.
have multiple pockets and always a pocket for concealed carry. So it's the style of the bag, then how do you get into the pocket? Is there a zipper? Is there Velcro? Are there magnets? Uh, Different manufacturers use different techniques. How do you stabilize the bag? How do you get it open? How do you get it closed? How do you get the gun out of the holster pocket? How do you get it back in the holster pocket? All of those things are determined by the bag itself. Now, as you pay attention to the muzzle and you keep your finger off the trigger as you go in and out. But it just takes practice and it takes time, and you have to do it slowly to master it. There are some very unique ways that manufacturers have come up with.
Sure. And you actually touched on something that ties right into my next question. So, in the Flexi Carry Solutions, a positive guide to off body carry book, there are a bunch of different bag options. And I'm not calling you out, but this is just a question that I had. One thing was noticeably absent that I didn't see a single two strap backpack in the book. Is there any reason that that was excluded? And do you have any like special instructions for people that maybe want to use a two strap backpack? I just, it wasn't in there and maybe I'm missing it, but you're shaking your head. So I feel like you're going to tell me something cool.
Oh, well, there were only so many. We decided we could only show so many uh, diversifications, and we chose not to show the two um, strap backpack because it is more complicated, um, and it is less useful for the majority of people in everyday carry. Now, in a more tactical situation or a security team, perhaps, that is going to use a two-strap backpack, absolutely. There's nothing against that. We don't have anything against
Okay.
it. But it just isn't something that people choose as often as a single strap backpack.
Yeah.
And that's probably not a very good answer.
No,
Uh,
no, but I mean, I read the book. I said, no, there's no backpack in here with two straps. It's like, I wonder what the deal is, but that makes sense. And it can be complicated, of course. And like you said, you can't cover everything. So, it's impossible.
yeah, and it does take longer. That is one instance
Hmm.
where it will take you longer to remove the backpack from one shoulder. Whereas if it's only a single strap, it slides around your body quite easily, and speed is
Right.
does not become an issue.
Sure, sure. So I've got a couple more. We've got three more softball. These are softball pitches right here. The last questions. We're coming up on number 10. And then we've got the two bonus questions. Um, what is the most rewarding thing that you've taken away from your experiences exploring this topic, educating on it, and teaching people about off-body carry?
Oh, when that reluctant student, and I would say 90% of those instructors who come to my class are reluctant, but they have decided that they need to learn something about this. And when at the end of 3 days, they say, as one instructor put it last spring, he said, I knew I needed to come to a class this weekend. I didn't know that I needed this class until I went through it. Because when those types of instructors who are reluctant learn the advantages and learn that speed is not an issue, and when they learn that convenience uh, and opportunity for a plethora of their students is here in this technique, they say, oh my gosh, why didn't anybody tell me this before? Why is
Sure.
it so dogmatic to have to be a holster on a belt in belt loops? So that's the most rewarding part, is reaching the people and helping them understand.
Sure. No, I think that's great. And what are your parting thoughts here? What would you want to get out to people that might be watching this, listening to this, or reading an article based on our interview here? What would you say?
Be open-minded about what's best for your students. Don't don't uh take that dictatorial stance of you're the instructor and you have to know best and people have to listen to you. No, no, no. Explore what's best for your students. Our students come in all shapes and sizes and skill and ability levels. Do what's best for your student.
Perfect. And right before we wrap up here, where do I direct people to learn more about you? Where can they find your book? Is this in Kindle yet, or is it still just
Yes,
paperback?
I
Um,
believe it's in
Give me
Kindle.
all of the information.
Yeah, I believe it's in Kindle now,
Okay.
and I'm pretty sure it is. Yes, um, it is also, and that's available on Amazon, both
Hmm.
the pure showing and the Kindle version from Amazon. There is also a spiral bound version now.
Okay.
And if they contact me, I can give them that information. I didn't have it written down before I started this. I'm sorry. Um, they can also go to FlexiCarry uh, solutions.com. FlexiCarrySolutions.com is the web page.
Could you just
And
spell that out, please?
FlexiCarrySolutions.com.
I just want to make sure that everybody listening in can write it down. Like it wasn't a spelling test. I apologize. Uh, I didn't mean to make that the hardest question of the interview. So flexicarrysolutions.com. You can
Yes,
learn
and it's
about the
also
book,
on, yes, it's also on Facebook.
and
So
it's
there
on
is a web page and a Facebook page.
perfect. Vicki, thank you so much. Vicki Farnam, the godmother of off body carry. Thank you so much. And this is really exciting to me. I appreciate what you're doing.
Oh, the thanks goes to you, John, for even considering this a topic that's worthwhile because we just need to get the information out to more people to try this and learn it and do it.
I agree. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.